hello and welcome to today's episode of Your Manchester.
Yes, the studio is colourful, we're colourful, and that is for one very special reason. We are getting ready for Pride.
As are our guests, each and every one of them with wonderful stories to tell us as we delve into the past, the present and some of the future as they shroud themselves in the fabulous rainbow.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic weekend and we are getting you ready for it right here, and stay with us till the end because it's a very special poem from our Titters.
That's right, so stick around and welcome to today's episode of Your Manchester.
Pride Selfie.
Now then, to start the show, we're going to talk to a lovely lady all the way from a beautiful place called Thomas Cook.
I know, you're very special during Pride time. Well, special anyway, but this is particularly your moment, isn't it?
It's a very exciting moment for us. It's our 5th year as a sponsor and supporter of Manchester Pride, and we are delighted, very, very giddy at Thomas Cook Airlines.
Why did Thomas Cook want to get involved with Manchester Pride? We
started 5 years ago, to be honest, because our people come from a real diverse background, and diversity is absolutely key for us. It's in our DNA. But if I'm honest, because of Manchester Pride, it's actually become more of that. Over the years, we've developed it, our support for the Pride. We fly so many passengers all over the world, and we think it's our responsibility to both our employees, but also to our customers to be sort of celebrating diversity, the diversity of our passengers, making sure everybody feels comfortable, that wherever in the world they go, they feel welcome, and also for our crew who basically fly the flag for us all over the world.
And talking about the flights, you had a very special flight earlier this week, didn't you?
We certainly did. So to celebrate the kick-off to Pride this year, we did a special flight. We fly to San Francisco, which is obviously absolutely key in the LGBT plus community.
Oh yes.
And for that special flight, what we did is we asked our crew if they'd like to volunteer, and we had it was fully operated by LGBT crew, which is actually quite normal in our day-to-day. It was nothing unusual. However, we decided to do a big celebration around it. We did some activity at the airport with refreshments. We had lots of colourful fruit skewers and cocktails and donuts, and basically invited all of our passengers to join in our celebration.
Give us a little bit of a sneak preview of what you're doing in the parade. So
this year we've tried to take it up a notch. It's been quite a challenging but really fun, obviously, theme this year. But I suppose there's two ways we could have gone. We could have gone very sort of space, and people probably would expect us to do that. But what we've actually decided is, to us, Pride is all about our people. So we've actually focused on the future of diversity, the second part of obviously the theme. We've got lots of people getting involved, from walkers and some unusual, some usual for us vehicles, but some unusual vehicles that you wouldn't maybe see operating down the Manchester streets. We've got things happening in the air. We've got people of all ages, from all backgrounds, showing their love and how it should be.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you very much to your lovely company as well for doing this for us.
Yeah, and I'll look out for you in that parade.
Please do.
We will indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, we are now joined by our second guest, and this man has been very, very influential within this lovely village for a very long time. And he also is, of course, an ambassador of the George House Trust, who do an awful lot for Pride. With that in mind, we invited Mr. John Hamilton to join us. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
What is the George House Trust, for those that don't know?
George House Trust is an agency that I understand provides services for people living with HIV and AIDS and care of people that are positive, and also do campaigns working with other organisations to do the undetectable, U equals undetectable, so doing that campaign at the moment and stuff like that.
It's very involved in Pride in a very special way, because on Monday we do have the candlelight vigil, and I know that's a big thing for the Trust, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Pride, I think, if I'm right, is its 28th year. I'm not too sure, I'm not 100% sure, but 28th year. And it all stems out from the AIDS epidemic back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, and a group of bars come together with their stalls on the street. That's how it all started from, and grew from there into the village charity, and then other organisations from that. And from that, money was raised for various organisations, and George House Trust was one of them, which is one of the leading organisations for care for HIV and AIDS back in the day.
And how important do you think a charity like this is?
I think it's still important. A lot of people say that it doesn't affect us anymore. And I think with combination therapy and stuff like that now, a lot of people don't see what it was like in the 80s. Like, we don't go down that full road now. I think a lot of illness from HIV and AIDS is more about sickness with the tablets rather than being full blown. A lot of people tend to get ill through liver failure or kidney failure or stuff like that now. So people don't get to see the true effects of the illness face to face. And a lot of young people don't see now, with people taking tablets, what people look like that are positive. It could be anybody stood next to you now. You don't see that anymore. I think that's the difference. And I think for me personally, young people now think taking a tablet's a lot easier and you don't die. They don't know the long terms yet. I think there's a lot of education, re-education I think we need to do. I think we've taken it for granted at the moment.
You know, you've got some good shows over Pride as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we're quite lucky. We've teamed up with quite a lot of entertainers from across the country, and we've managed, it's our 5th year of the community stage outside, and we've got quite a lot of performers out on the stage taking part, a lot of community groups taking part. We've teamed up this year with Eagle on the back street to do, actually, because of Pride moving out the village, we've actually teamed up to do a dance arena at the back of our venue as well with Eagle. So there's quite a lot of community stuff and village stuff that we've worked together. And I think it's important in this day and age that bars have to work together rather than fight. And there's always been this thing about fighting over bar prices and entrance prices and stuff like that. We just sat down and come, that's enough. Let's work together here and let's move forward, because we've got to look after our customer base.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
That's okay, no
Thank
worries.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to On The Box. Now, in the run-up to Pride, I decided to research people's favourite LGBT plus TV shows of the year. Now, let's start off with Sex Education. This landed on our screens in January and we fell massively in love with it. Black Mirror, Series 5, Striking Vipers, 2 men had virtual sex through a video game. The BBC, of course, brought us Gentleman Jack about Anne Lister, which was absolutely fabulous and is due to have a second series, I think, next year. And also, we had the next Netflix comedy Special. Ryan O'Connell actually plays a fictionalised version of himself in that. Euphoria has been compared to Skins and has plenty of LGBT plus representation. Batwoman, starring Ruby Rose, has yet to be released, so we're looking forward to that. And the very highly anticipated L Word is due on our screens in autumn, and I, for one, cannot wait. The final series of Orange is the New Black hit Netflix a few months back too. What's your favourite? Drop me a tweet at HeyKate or at YourMCR. Happy Pride, Manchester. See you next time. Bye.
Well, another great, wonderful charity is the LGBT Foundation. Now, we've got the head honcho from there with us right now.
I know, it's absolutely fabulous. We've got him in our studio.
Paul Martin OBE.
Indeed.
First of all, let's divulge into the LGBT Foundation. What is it and how did it begin?
Well, the LGBT Foundation is one of the country's largest LGBT service providers. So we provide huge amounts of services to somewhere in the region of about 40,000 people every year. So we provide, obviously, the world-famous Canal Street Village Angels. We do counselling, we do HIV testing, we do drug and alcohol support services. You name it, we kind of nearly do it. And we kind of think of ourselves as the queer emergency service. We're there when people need us. So we're not just in Manchester, we're in other parts of the country as well, but we have got a great bunch of staff and volunteers that passionately believe in ensuring the LGBT people can fulfil their full potential. Absolutely.
You've got a great drive, though, that's going on this Pride, though, haven't you, that's really important?
So it's the 25th anniversary, if you can believe it, of Greater Manchester's free condom and lube distribution scheme. 25 years. And I was there at the very, very beginning. Can you imagine that?
Oh, I don't.
Yes, absolutely. Bless you for that, but I was. But we have, in 25 years, distributed 31 million condoms and lube. That's enough condoms, if you unroll them end to end, to go from Manchester right the way to Gran Canaria, and enough lube to fill 10 party-size jacuzzis. Sort of like something that was conceived in Manchester by local people for local people.
Why was it conceived? What was the idea behind
Well,
it?
25 years ago, there was just, I mean, condoms were about £6 or £7 a packet. You could only get them in sort of like, you know, packs of 12. And it was really, really important for gay and bisexual men at that point to kind of protect themselves and protect the people they were, you know, having sex with. And so I and other people around at the time, we lobbied the health services, we lobbied the council to create the scheme. And 25 years ago at Manchester Pride, we distributed 24,000 condoms and 24,000 sachets of lube. And this year, we're distributing 25,000 packs. So that's 100,000 condoms and lube as sort of like our silver jubilee.
That's incredible. I mean, what's the response that you get from people when they get it? Are they appreciative? Do they
Of course they are. I mean, I think that what's brilliant about it is that the condom and lube distribution scheme is part of LGBT life now. So everybody just kind of expects it to be on the bar, in the saunas, in the clubs, you know, in the shops. So it's fantastic. It's part of queer life in the city. But also what's great about it is it's probably the world's longest running scheme, and particularly it's been funded by the festival, the Pride Festival that the city's had. So 25 years ago it was the village charity, and then through the different incarnations and stuff up to Manchester Pride today. So they've been funding it from the very, very beginning. So not only are we celebrating 31 million condoms and lube being distributed, we're also celebrating 25-year partnership, continuous partnership with the Manchester Pride organisers. That's not bad.
And do you know what? It's great talking to you because you really are passionate about what you do and it shines through. Yeah. Obviously passionate about Pride. What does Pride mean to you?
Well, I think that Pride means to me sore feet, lots of working, and I've been doing it since the beginning. So it's much more for me about the, you know, smiles and excitement that people have, you know, that it's their first year. So we've got quite a young staff team. A lot of them have never done Pride before, so they're really, really excited. And I think it's just the personal stories, people's stories of their journeys to Pride. So one of our trustees, his mum, his sister and his stepdad is walking with him in our parade entry. Wow. And for him, that's the best sort of like highlight of his life. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely the pinnacle of acceptance and inclusion and feeling love and support of his family, you know, in his community. So I think that Pride is so amazingly kind of important to people. You know, people like us that have been doing it for many a year, we can be a bit cynical. But actually, when you see the little smiles on people's faces, when you see those brilliant touches, when you see the lesbian police officer kind of like walking to work hand in hand with her wife, when you see, you know, people enjoying all of the freedoms and equality that we have in this country, we're very privileged to have in this country. I think that Pride for me is just a celebration of everything that is good about our community and our lives.
Thank you very much, Paul Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am very excited about this next item.
I am too.
Because
very excited.
Not often do we get a bit of an exclusive, but we've got one.
Indeed, we have. This is Majojo Kuss, everybody, and this is the lovely Mr. Joe King.
It looks fabulous.
I know. Could you imagine me wearing that? I'd look like an airing cupboard. Or a very overstuffed couch, wouldn't I?
Anyway, let's go on to Majojo.
Majojo! This is very exciting.
It is.
You have kept me on tenterhooks for the past about 9 weeks now.
You've kept it quiet.
I have kept it quiet. I've done very, very well, haven't I?
You're a good
I have
friend.
not told a soul, mainly because I don't know what's going on properly. So explain.
Okay. So what happened is about 3 months ago now it would be.
Yeah.
Shortly after I'd left Sparkle, it was getting too much. I couldn't do it anymore, and fate just knocked on my door. And this real life hero over there contacted me through a friend at work asking for help, explaining that the gay men community, and more specifically the leather men and the rubber men and the bears, couldn't stand, watch and do nothing anymore about the abuse and the attacks on the trans community, and especially trans women. And they asked if I could help to put something together to make a statement for Manchester Pride. That a statement of solidarity, a statement that the LGBT community really is that, the LGBT, and we all stand together.
Absolutely.
And so it all started from there, and it's grown into something quite exciting for Saturday. I'll let you explain a bit more.
Well, the thing was that we thought, what can we do in light of all the negativity that's directed towards the community, particularly the trans community, and particularly in my community, the leather kink community, we're quite used to being marginalised and sort of out there and a little bit kind of... So, you know, we thought actually we're really well placed to try and organise something. So I thought, what would be a really simple gesture, something that would really send a very clear message to all the haters that we are a united community and that we stand behind our trans family 100%, and that we won't tolerate bigotry and intolerance. So what we decided to do was to try and, rather than have the individual groups walking in the parade, what we thought would be really nice would be to do a symbolic gesture of incorporating as many trans people as possible into our walking groups. So this year what we're doing is we've invited members of the trans community, particularly activists, to walk up front and centre with all our walking groups. We are carrying all trans colours, trans flags. We will still be carrying our own identities, but we are sending that message that, you know, the trans community is just as much a part of the LGBTQ community as anyone else. And if you mess with them, you mess with us.
How are you going to feel, Majojo, when you see all that solidarity and those flags and those people coming together in the different groups on Saturday?
Obviously proud, but also I expect quite in a similar way to how I felt 3 months ago when Joe approached me. And it is a tremendous gesture. I do see the attacks every day, and I am a very strong person. It's very hard to break me down, but I have to admit that some days it's not so easy to go to bed. And when Joe approached me, I was so touched I could have cried. I really was, because you see the odds ad hoc statement or mention in an event, but never had I seen such a show of support and of solidarity and of understanding. And it gave me a strong feeling of belonging. It gave me back that feeling of belonging to the overall LGBTQ community that I was starting to lose a little bit through all the awful things that we all see every day in the media. So thank you, Joe.
Oh no, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure. I think that you know, we've all got a duty to use our voices for something positive, and I'm really glad that I'm able to do that in my own special, small way. So
You already have.
I like the fact it starts in Manchester first, though.
Of course it
everything
does.
starts in Manchester.
It does indeed. Well, thank you very much, Joe King.
You're
Thank you very much,
welcome.
Majojo
you.
Kuss.
Thanks for having us.
Fabulous! Well, we are now moving on to our final guests, and we are joined by two stalwarts of the village and indeed of the wonderful Manchester Pride. One face, of course, you'll recognise because he's here every second week. That's, of course, our lovely Mr.
Carl
Carl.
Austin
Am I being
Behan.
like, oh, we need someone, just come along.
No, well, yeah, your number just cropped up on my phone. I was going through the C's,
Yeah.
and
Not get much further.
there was a few C's, and your name was the only one that was spelled without T. So we then moved on to our other guest, of course. He is the person that supplies us with this beautiful studio.
Absolutely.
And of course, he's been going now for donkey's years. It's Mr. Tony D. Cooper, everybody. How are we? Now, Manchester Pride is a changing,
Yes.
and it's a brand new era. Is it going to be bigger? Is it going to be better? What's your opinions on
It's
it?
going to be bigger. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I mean, I've been coming to Manchester Pride since 96, 97. And, you know, every year, you know, something changes. I mean, I can remember even up to sort of 10 years ago or something, there was nothing in the main car park that everyone had that massive kick-off about the main stage being there. You know, one year it was empty, one year it was a fairground, one year it was markets. And people seem to forget that, especially a lot of younger people forget that, you know, it has evolved, it's changed. You know, we've had some years where it's literally been a back of a lorry as a main stage because there was no funding there, there was no support. And, you know, and every year now, because we've started to get the bigger bands come in and the bigger groups coming in, people have been like, we want bigger, we want better. Then it gets to sort of 7:30 on a night that someone's coming at 9 o'clock and you can't get anywhere near the stage. You know, they have to put them cattle grate things up all the way along Bloom Street and round Sackville Street just to get there. So to make it easier for people and to sort of answer people's needs, I think it has to move on. I think we need to sort of move on with the times, and people want big acts, people want to see something. I know Tony's probably going to be a little bit different on this because of the community side that he's always sort of been a part of and built up in the Sackville stage element. But I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it, and I think, you know, it's time to move on and time to change.
I think you're right in a lot of that. It's developed over the years. It's changed. It's developed. You know, main stage used to be in the park. You know, back in the 96, 97.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, I think it was 96 or 97 was the first year I hosted a stage at Manchester Pride. But I've been there for donkeys before that. But I think you're wrong about the big acts. I think there are people that want the big acts. But I think what's happened this year, and you certainly see it on a lot of the forums and everything else, is it's starting to take the village part of Manchester Pride back to more of a community level. You know, all the bars have got stages, as you can hear, they're being built as we speak. There's other forms of entertainment. So those that want the pop concert element of it can go and do that somewhere else and probably have a great time and see those big name acts. But I'm hearing from a lot of people.
I fully agree with you. I mean, for me, it's the village. I love my community acts. I thought last year, I think when there was rumours going around about what was happening initially, about this being the last Manchester Pride with the stage, I think all the bars upped the game. I think they really sort of took that and sort of did something a little bit different last year.
Is it taking anything away from the village by calling it a festival now?
Well, do you know what? We've had Mardi Gras, we've had Gay Fest, we've had all these different names over the past sort of 20 odd years. And, you know, I love the element, the community. I love the little bands that are up. I like the sort of the singers. You know, Nicky French and, you know, all of the acts that you sort of, you know, that do the rounds. I love all that because I feel like I've grown up with them people, so I will go and support them people year after year.
Do you not just like the idea of the fact that everyone who comes on the street during Pride is actually coming because they love that community and they want to be here?
And I think that's what people have wanted, to be honest. And I think what we found over the last 4 or 5 years with the main stage in the car park is that Pride itself has lost a lot of that. Because there were a vast majority that were coming to try and get into the pop concert part of Pride, and now that's been taken away. My prediction is that Pride on the Village is going to be the biggest it's been for years, because people are going to come here to actually be part of Pride, support the bars that they go in all year round, meet up with their friends, and you know, have great conversations, have a great dance on the street. And then top it all off, hopefully with a fantastic vigil that means so much to so many people.
What are you doing for Pride then?
I'm actually on the Friday night. I'm going to go to the Spartans. It's their they've got a 25th anniversary, and I'm going to their dinner first, and then sort of coming out into the village afterwards. And I'm going to actually march this year with a pink hard hat, with building equality.
I'm moving swiftly on to Tony. Tony, you must have a jam-packed schedule, yeah, for On Bar?
Crazy. Well, not just On Bar. I mean, we've got Vanilla as well now. So, yeah, we've got.
I forgot about that. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. You know, great team, and we're pulling it all together, including the guys in London, and it's you know, it's working really well. So yeah, there's loads. We've got full lineup here, obviously with.
That is the full lineup.
And you know, Lee Starr, Riley Virus, Dean J. I'm going to miss some people. Zach Hadley, Mickey Taylor, Rachel Kelly. Obviously, we've got a stage on outside on the street this year with a bar. Then, of course, for the girls, we've got the Girl Zone on Richmond Street with the massive tent there. Some amazing DJs in there. And then we've got the other tent on Richmond Street further up as well. When you run a bar on the village, you see little insights into why the village is needed all the time. And when you've got 18, 19-year-olds that come in after work and they sit at the end of the bar with a pint of lager and they'll talk to your staff for an hour, they'll talk to you for an hour, and then they go home. And the reason they do that is because they live with ultra-religious parents or whatever. That is their touch on gay society. That 1 hour where they finish work in the city centre and they can call in for a pint or a soft drink and they can sit there and they can talk to somebody that's the same as them, and then they go home to a fake life to satisfy the people. That's why the village is so needed.
It's bank holiday weekend, there's nowhere to hide. In our great city, it's Manchester pride. Whether LGBTQ or straight, lift up that latch and come in through the gate. You'll see gays and lesbians, trans folk are queer. But when the straight eye looks properly, there's nothing to fear. Man lying with woman, we were told was the norm. Man with man, woman with woman, was hardly good form. It's 50 years now since Marsha J's call, which rose from the riots around the stone wall. The question was simple, but odd for the time. To be who I am, is that really a crime? Whoever you are, whether gay, straight or trans, your right is the freedom to be seen holding hands. The Saturday parade, flamboyant and bright, meanders our street. What a wonderful sight. Crowds of children in buggies to grandparents gather to follow the parade, whatever the weather. Young and old, black and white, share this moment with folk for whom life's been a fight. For the battlers who strove and fought for a way to find freedom for Alan, who now sits here all day. Alan, I salute you for my world without fear, because without your great work, I wouldn't be here. At the end of the weekend, as the day turns to dark, the vigilers gather in Sackville Street Park. A moment's reflection as you stand on the grass for the community's fallen who this last year did pass. So if you travel by taxi, train, wind and ride, be happy, stay safe and have a good pride.